Welcome to the downside. My name is Gianmarco Soresi. This is a place where people can complain, get negative. They don't have to talk about how great the new year was or the holidays were. They can say why it sucked, why they wish they had a different family, why they get jealous. And I'm here with.
Do you do New Year's resolutions?
I do. I'm one of those. I'm like, I have so many, I can't even keep track. And every year it's always like, I will try to read more and I will not pursue it.
Yeah.
I have a trainer, which.
Oh, do you?
Our
Okay.
guest, Jes Tom, I know you have a trainer.
I just started seeing one, but only once a week, though.
Yes, but my trainer was saying that the gyms really do deal with every January this insane influx, which is silly.
Yeah.
At a certain point, you have to go like, you don't
probably
have
the
to
only
wait till
reason why
January.
It's probably the only reason why these gyms can function.
Well,
they go
Equinox
up,
got in
you know.
trouble last year because they did like an ad like, if you're just joining for January, don't bother.
Yeah.
And people were like, whoa, how dare you be elitist?
They should raise the prices in January.
Yeah.
That's smart. But I think gyms can be elitist. Not
Yeah.
every gym has to be Planet Fitness. We need
Yeah.
every gym to go, hey, sit on the machine for an hour.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be the MO for every gym.
So what's the gym situation that makes you feel most comfortable?
I'm not a gym person. I'm more like I'm a class.
Okay, so
I
what
like
are you-
classes.
Yeah, what are you doing with your trainer?
Thank you for asking.
Yeah, show us.
Russell, you tell me,
Show
based
us.
on how my body's changed in the last year, what have I been doing?
I think you're doing little arms.
Mhm.
Little arms. No. I didn't know you've been in training with someone for a year.
Yeah.
No, don't say that.
No. I think of you always as like a fit person, but I didn't
Yeah.
know.
No, he is always dancing
You're always
around.
working out. Like I knew you do a lot of classes. I didn't know you were seeing someone.
I'm doing like, it's.
You never talk about them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it always feels arrogant talking about, like, I don't have any jokes about working out, really. Because I feel like the premise is like, so I'm taking care of myself.
So you immediately came on here today and we're like, Jess, I know you started doing this too. Okay, put it on me.
I wanted like, just like I never could do heavy weightlifting. I would get injured if I tried to do bench press on my own. So I wanted someone to gradually, like, just to build, but nothing crazy. I don't want to be Kumail. I know I was worried. I came in, I said, please,
Yeah.
slow down. Don't make me like the fittest comedian in the world
you
right
walked
now.
in and he was like Kumail, right?
What are you working on?
I'm literally just trying to stay fit so I can do this off-Broadway show.
Sure, I get that.
Because I just know, like, I'm not doing anything crazy with my trainer. I just know that based on the way my body felt before, I wouldn't be able to do it.
Yeah, I
every
get
night.
that. I mean, when you did, Gutenberg, he's understudying Josh Gad and Gutenberg the
Hell yeah.
musical,
Hell
which
yeah.
closes when?
January 28th.
Okay, go see it. Give him one more, Josh. Let him go on one more time, Josh. Come on. But that's a crazy physical role.
Yeah.
If you had to do that?
No. There's no way to like when we were running in rehearsals, you got more reps in. But even watching the guys do it, like the one time I did it, you did it and you're like, oh, that was a lot. I'm very tired. The kind of having to do it 8 times a week, I don't have that sort of thing. And it took the guys a while, the guys doing it, being like, it took a while for them to build up that stamina to be able to do it. Cause it's a lot, you're 2 full hours running around and,
Yeah, I mean, what I do is not even very physically demanding because it's a stand-up show. But I just knew.
No,
I
but it
wouldn't
is.
be
It's
able
a
That
lot
is
of
why you're
energy.
like, man, I'm going to stand for an hour.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get a trainer.
No, but it's like mentally, there's a energy.
It's psychically
Yeah.
very draining.
Yeah.
Your training sessions, they just give you a 2-pound weight and you just hold it like this for an hour at a time.
Yeah, we just look in each other's eyes.
Just move us to it. Real quick, a couple of things I want to address for the commenters. I'm done apologizing about talking about too much theater on this podcast.
Yeah.
Fuck you. Everything's theater.
Well,
I don't know what
are
to tell
people
you.
Complaining?
Some people keep commenting. They talk about theater so much. You know how much fucking sports I've had to put up with in my goddamn life
Yeah.
just to fit in? You can deal with it. And guess what? Everything's theater. Your definition of theater is too limited. That's the problem.
Yeah. What do they
Gutenberg,
want us to talk
A
about?
funeral, a presidential election. It's all theater.
Yeah.
It sways the world.
Yeah.
So, fuck off, number one. Number two, Yeah, the couch is small. Yeah, the couch is small.
We're sitting close these
We're
days.
sitting close. That's how we like it.
How
yeah,
many
and
people
we
are
like
talking
the
about
camera
this?
right across.
Exactly. There were a couple comments. They said that couch is way too small, and I said, you know what? This is.
I don't like the implication.
There's comments that I delete.
I don't read them. I don't read them. I've been purposely not reading the comments. Now that there's more people commenting, I don't want to know. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which one hurts you? What kind of comment hurts me?
So many could hurt me.
For me, if someone says, for me, it's like not funny or hacky. That's my preference.
Yeah.
You call me gay, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
But if you make fun of my couch that I just paid a lot of
That's
money
it.
to move in,
That's it.
Truly, that makes me.
Yeah.
What is it? Is it a weight thing that would bother you, or is it you're not funny or you're stupid?
I don't mind the stupid thing because if it's like calling me stupid based on that like Biden clip, I'm like, I have a bet that I'm not as dumb as whoever's commenting on it. Do you know what I mean? Like,
You should reply that I'm actually smarter.
I'm actually smarter than you. No. But I don't mind the dumb thing because I don't think I'm dumb. And also like if I don't know something, I'm open to being like I don't know about that. That's fine. But I think I don't know. It's just a little bit like I noticed because I used to read a lot, and then I was like, this isn't really helpful for me to read all these. You know,
what comment makes you go deep down? You know, it touched something, and you go, oh.
Not funny kills me.
Yeah.
It kills me. But I think a lot of the time also when people say I'm not funny, it's because they're taking issue with something I'm talking about content-wise.
Of course.
Yeah.
And so it's the easiest thing to be like, I'm not funny. And I'm like, no, I am funny. You don't understand what I'm saying.
Yes.
Yeah. Or they do understand and they disagree, or they're like, like,
Or they
there's-
can't. I don't think they hear it even. I think that they like see me and then they hear one or two words and they're like, not funny.
Yeah.
The problem about talking about this, and this is what happened in the last episode where I
No.
brought up the couch, is every comment is going to cover each one of the things
Yes.
that we just said we
Yes.
do not want to be
I
commented
know.
on. Because if they have
You
the thoughts,
just
they're like,
made us name our weaknesses.
Yeah.
this is the downside.
1, 2, 3. Downside. Downside.
You're listening to The Downside
The Downside.
with Gianmarco Soresi.
Well, we're here with comedian, writer, actor, Jes Tom.
Hi. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for being here. And I can't wait to talk about you, but I have something I want to talk about first.
Okay.
Speaking of theater from another mister, I was trying to figure out theater from like brother, sister from another mister.
Yeah.
Didn't rhyme.
Yeah, I thought in my head
Theater
for some
from
reason,
another
theater from another.
cheater. No, I'm trying to rhyme.
Mine was better. I went to. This is coming out January 2nd. Recording it a little before the New Year's.
Yeah.
I'm doing a show on New Year's, which I've done this before, where I'm doing the countdown from the stage.
Oh my god.
And
Oh my
it is
god.
one of
Oh.
it's such a perfect metaphor.
Imagine being.
It's such a
there.
perfect metaphor because it's like I've done this a couple years now, where I'm on stage, lights on me, I'm holding a mic, I got everything I've ever wanted,
Yeah.
and I'm looking out at people with their loved ones, with their lovers, with their family, with their friends, and they don't give a fuck about me.
Yeah.
And I finally got to be the center of attention of nobody,
Where are you doing this?
the Comedy Cellar. So it's moved up.
Yeah.
I used to do it in a Connecticut regional theater for 80-year-olds.
Yeah.
And some of them were dying.
How? Oh, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
How long is the show you're doing?
I think it's just 2 regular showcase shows.
Uh-huh.
But then at the end, the host says, "Oh,
You're
bring up
hosting?
here." No, but like they bring up 2 other people and we go up and
Uh-huh.
we go 10. And we try
Man.
to, you have to fight that thing where it's like, it's not like I'm going to be funny. I don't have jokes prepared for the countdown.
Yeah.
I'm just there to facilitate. I'm now in the service industry
Yeah.
for that moment.
Yeah.
I guess I'm trying to imagine calculating time passing while in the comedy center or comedy cellar.
Like just
I
look
want
at
to
the
know.
clock.
Can I just say that I'm extremely nocturnal and it's not natural for me to be awake right now?
Sure.
I just want to name that.
Well, I would say this is the earliest we've ever maybe done a podcast. I think.
Who was it for? Was it for you?
It was for me because
It
I
was
have 2
for you.
shows.
He's got 2 shows today.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
Too busy.
apologies.
What
'cause
time did you go to sleep last night?
I want to say 4 in the morning. So
Or in the morning.
Is that you're like
kind
nocturnal?
of.
That's
yeah.
irregular.
I'm
Mine-
nocturnal too. I'm
I'm 2 to 3.
yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I'm trying to do a thing
Trying to
now
do one.
where I like name. There was one time where I went on another podcast that I was really excited to go on, and then that morning, the mixture of my PrEP and gonorrhea medication made me so sick that I had to go find a Joe and the Juice to throw up in on the way to
Was
the
it specific?
podcast.
You're like, I want to. Did you need to get revenge on Joe and the Juice? Because they make some bad smoothies.
It seemed like the most viable option, and it was. It was. There was a single stall restroom with no line that you didn't have to buy anything to get into. So that's where you should go throw up if you're on like West 54th. But
Wait,
Wait, you can control though. If I have to throw up, it's happening. You know, like
you don't have any. You don't have any warning. It's coming.
I have
No.
a pretty good repressive quality. I don't know if that's a positive, but
I'm amazed that you went to.
I
these
looked
days.
for. I shopped for somewhere. I looked. It
Yeah.
was like the second place I stopped. I stopped in a Starbucks first. The line was too long. Anyway, which is all to say, then I got to this podcast and I didn't say that was what had just happened, and then I didn't give a great interview, and I was like, damn, I should have just told them my gonorrhea medication made me throw up. Like
That's
15 minutes
great.
ago.
yeah,
Well, now
So
you
anyway,
get to tell
which
it
is
here.
all just why
yeah.
I've thrown
I'm
up.
saying that.
The last time I threw up in New York was a long time ago,
Long time.
and I
Brag.
made it to a trash can. But it was the worst kind of trash can. It was the ones at
Oh,
Times
no.
Square that open like this.
Oh, no.
So I was throwing up and like witnessing like all the horrors of the like inside of the trash can. You know that like, and then I had to like hear it slosh
No,
back.
that's why you have to have a
He's
private
very
moment at
squeamish.
I'm very.
Joe and the Juice.
It's my dream to have you throw up on this podcast.
The blender drowns everything out.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. Oh, I hate throwing up. I try to go years in between it happening.
Yeah.
You know, it's very rare for me to be just throw up. You know,
It feels good when you do it.
it feels great when you do it. When if you have to
There's
do it,
something.
and you do it. You know,
I can understand how for people it becomes a problem. There's something very cathartic.
very like
You're crying.
also when you do it and then you're like that feeling of like laying on the bathroom floor,
Mhm.
the coldness
So
of the
cold.
bathroom floor, and being like feeling like wow, I got it out. You know, oh, it's kind of romantic.
There's an alcoholic deep inside you, and every day.
No, no, but I think of like I'm trying to think if I threw up when I had COVID. I don't think I did because I was trying to think of the last time I threw up. I don't know. It's been years.
I have a real thing about like witnessing vomit.
Oh.
That like really freaks me out. I'm like not.
When you
into
say
that.
freaks out, like it makes you sick, or you're like,
No, it upsets me. I
It
become
makes me
upset.
sick. Like,
I do the thing where my mouth goes.
yeah.
Ew.
Stop.
So, I went to. Have you ever heard of the Grand Ole Opry?
Tell me like I'm an alien or a baby.
Sure.
I don't know a lot of things.
I went to
I don't know much
Tennessee.
about it. Tennessee,
and
Memphis,
oh my God, not Tennessee. No, Nashville,
Nashville, Tennessee.
Tennessee.
Oh yeah.
And the Grand Ole Opry, as far as I know, it's a big concert venue or whatever. And Tova and I went to see the Christmas show. And I realized that Tova and I, one thing that we like to do together is we like to like go to a completely different cultural event where everyone is like on the same page. And in this case, we're talking 80-year-old Christians, 60 to 80-year-old Christians and their families listening to Christmas music. And we don't fit in at all.
Yeah.
And we just like to go there and like as if we were doing and we're probably annoying because we're talking the whole time about like, oh, look, my God, look, they do this, they do that. But it feels like an adventure, an anthropological adventure.
Uh-huh.
And that's something Tova and I really like to do.
Uh-huh.
And I told her that's how I feel when I visit her Chabad, like when we go into the Jewish stuff.
Yeah.
She's like, well, that's my home. I'm like, but you see, it's just as weird as this.
Yeah.
She likes that. So the Grand Ole Opry, it was like first there was security in advance, and they let Tova go through. They checked my pockets, and I had weed mints on me
Oh.
in Tennessee. And for a second, I was like, am I about to get in trouble for edibles in the year 2023?
Yeah.
But then I think they don't know what edibles are. They see mints.
They see
so I was
mints.
fine.
Yeah.
But for a second, I tried to indicate to Tova, like, we need to
my God.
go.
Yeah.
We need to go and me put it on you since they don't check women here, I guess.
Yeah.
By the way, I also felt I don't feel this often, but I felt like so I have the bad thing because
Yeah.
I'm the guy.
But probably.
Well, statistically speaking,
Yes, but I thought we agreed with security that we're not going to do stuff.
I will say the most statistically improbable part of this is that you were the guy and you had the mints.
That's true. That's true. So, but like I tried. Tova's not very good at in the moment, just trusting me. Because I tried to when he pulled us aside to the table to have me empty my pockets. I was like, oh shit, I forgot. Tova, we've got to go get and Tova looks at me like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, we got the thing. And she
You're
goes,
like-
and Tova
I'm gonna
will
be-
not just go, oh, he's being weird. There must be a reason why. She's like, no, there is no thing. What are you talking about? No, go get arrested.
I like the scenario where she did listen to you and you went around the corner and put those mints up your butt to
Yeah.
get into the Grand Ole Opry.
Just to get
like just
slowly
to get into the Grand Ole
high.
Opry, like
off of ass mints.
we could have given it to her. We could have put it in like
You were
the
able to
inside
keep
of a
it,
coat
right?
pocket. Sometimes I think of this coat like it has an inner lining, and I'm like, that's where I'll do it.
yeah. But they'll check. Didn't they pat you down?
No, they just
No,
just
just-
looked at what was in my pocket.
Got it.
So I go there, and it's a very Christian event. Very, it was incredible because there's like 80-year-olds. This is their like late night theater event, and they play violin, and they have all these like sexual innuendo. I think that's what's so interesting. That these are clearly like people not talking about sex in certain ways, but they like. So one woman went up and she's like, Santa got me this bracelet because I was a good girl for Santa. And this woman's 80. And she goes to the crowd. She goes like, and you all have a chance to be a good girl before the end of the year. And I'm like, what are you saying exactly?
Yeah.
She's saying she's in an age-appropriate relationship.
Sure. And that's good. But there's like, it's a thing.
There should be more of that, actually.
In that sense, yeah, I guess they're all dating within they're all born in the 50s and 40s and 30s.
Yeah.
But it's just this thing of like, you're basically saying, hey, jerk off your husband a little more before the end of the year.
Is that what
ladies.
she's saying?
She's implying the way that she said it was like
She
was like,
got it?
ladies, we have a couple more days to be a good wife. And I'm like,
Oh.
and I'm looking at all these people. First of all, they're not. No one's fucking anymore.
Yeah.
Or maybe they are, but it's just the weirdness of it. So like clean cut.
Yeah.
But then they make this dirty joke, and the implications of that joke.
Did people laugh?
Oh, this is the greatest joke.
Okay,
they've
she
heard
was
in their entire
crushing.
life.
She was crushing.
She was crushing, and then another person. Oh my God! What did they? Oh, they interviewed someone in the audience. They were doing their version of crowd work.
Yeah.
These are all the same. It's all the same. But she said, yeah, I was here at the Opry all the way for my first anniversary, and we did not stay the whole time. And the crowd goes, oh, and then the host goes, well, moving on. Well, moving on. And it's very funny in a room that, again, there's another singer who said like, we need to put more Jesus back into America. So that's the vibes.
Mm-hmm.
But then they still have these like dirty jokes, kind of, where they're talking about sex, and I'm like, you saying pussy or not, you are saying the dirty thing.
Yeah.
You're not as high and mighty as you think. There's something just weird about the way that they joke about sex, and they clearly enjoy it.
Yeah, it's like they have to. It's like it's the religious component is serious. It's a big part of their life, but they also have to let you know.
That's the
that they
vessel
are-
through which
Yeah.
they're able to express their horniness.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it's I'm like, it's one of those feelings of like, guys, you see, you're just like everyone else.
Yeah.
Drop the whole Jesus stuff. The singer who said we need to bring more Jesus back into America, when he said, I thank God for my beautiful family, my smoking hot wife. And I hear it and I'm just like, it's weird.
Yeah.
It's just weird. It's just weird the way they talk about it.
Yeah.
And the best part is at one point they brought kids on the stage and to sing with the singer. And like one kid was like, he was dancing and this was his biggest moment of his life.
Yeah.
And then there was another kid where the moment they start singing, you could see in their eyes, they were like, I don't like this.
Aww.
I don't want to be here. And I think it's sweet for someone to realize at that young age that they shouldn't become a performer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good.
None of us knows what that's like.
Yeah.
We're like, what an interesting conclusion to reach.
But it's my sister was like that. Like there was a Halloween pageant in kindergarten where they called her character's name on stage and she was supposed to like run in the circle and she didn't do it. And so they just played the music awkwardly and no one danced. And that's how she knows she's not a performer.
Yeah.
I saw when we were doing tech for my show, for a while I wanted to see what the lighting looked like, and obviously like I can't see it if it's me, so I had my director go up there, and the way that he blanched, like just standing on stage holding the mic and kind of like pretending to like do my bits, but like literally just being like, and this is the part where Jess says da da da, but like he was like terrified, and I was like, oh, this is not a thing that everybody does.
Yeah.
And people actually hate it.
Well, you see it when people have to give speeches
Yes.
at weddings and things. You're like, oh, whoa. People, not everyone, a lot of people are not performers. And then some people have natural abilities to speak and do it in front of people. But
my favorite is people who forget how a microphone works, where they go up to the wedding and they go,
yeah,
I love this bride. And people are like, I don't understand. You're a functioning human being in the world.
yeah.
It's a good thing.
No, it's good. Yeah.
Now were you a theatery
I was. No, I was.
from the beginning? I mean like childhood.
Yeah, at least like high school and onward. My first high school play was Chekhov's The Cherry Orchard.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's intense.
I went to a weird school.
Now
You do musicals and plays?
My dream is to do musicals, but some might say that I lack any of the skills to do that.
What musical role are you like? You're like, I could do that.
Okay, I want to note just right now that it appears that you're wearing something that says Andrew Lloyd Webber.
I am. Thank you
And
very
you're
much.
wearing
I'm
Phantom
wearing
of the
Phantom of
Opera.
the Opera.
Oh my god!
I don't have anything.
I wore this for you. I was like,
Wow.
Theater. Today is the day I have to
flattered.
wear.
Wow, Broadway.
And you wore black.
I wore
again.
black.
Thanks, Russell.
Yeah.
I don't know what this show is. Honestly, my sister.
I don't know what it is either.
My sister helps. She works in fashion.
Wow, Andrew
So
Lloyd
she
Webber
gets-
B-sides.
And
Aspects of what?
aspects of love.
Oh.
Your Phantom of the Opera. That's a good Phantom. Where'd you get that?
This Tessa Scara gave this to me. It's vintage. Wait, here, let me show you the back.
Wow.
Right? Isn't that cool?
It is cool. That's good merch. Gutenberg merch. Is it good merch?
I haven't looked at it in a while. There's hats that say Gutenberg.
I want to buy a hat.
I'll get you a hat. There's Steins that say I can't read. I'm sure there's shirts.
It's funny. I can't wait to explain that joke to people
Yeah.
years from now. So you grew up in San Francisco.
I did. Wait, can I answer your question though
Please.
about
Yes,
musical
please.
roles? I've been grappling lately with obviously I'm a Phantom of the Opera person, and I've been grappling recently with the fact that I'm more of a Rel than a Phantom.
Mm-hmm.
Now remind me, does Raoul he
He's-
wins in the end or does he get
He
killed?
wins. He wins.
My
He's
friend
not a
played
good
Raoul
guy.
was closing on Broadway.
That's amazing.
yeah.
I maybe I saw him.
John Riddle.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Is that gonna be your new thing? Every time someone brings up a musical, you'd be like, I know the guy.
I know the guy who did it.
I
yeah.
know the guy.
Hey,
I know the
I know
under-
everyone on Broadway now.
I know every understudy under the sun. I know a guy played Raoul 3 times because
Yeah, yeah.
he got food poisoning. Isn't that good? Isn't the Phantom, if we're being honest, a bit problematic?
They're both problematic.
Why is Raoul
They're
problematic?
both bad.
Well, it's set in
Raoul
the
is a run-of-the-mill manipulator. He, like, the whole thing by Act 3 is Christina's being like, I don't want to do this. I don't like this. I feel unsafe. And he's like, no, come on, babe, come on.
Is that
we
how you
need
do the character? You do
Yeah,
it as a
yeah,
New
That's,
York?
yeah.
is
That's my
really-
Raoul. And I've been grappling with that.
What makes you Raoul?
I think I'm a spoiled little pretty boy.
Oh.
Like, I actually don't think the whole thing about the Phantom is that he's obviously, like, he's a genius. I relate to that. But he's, like, undesirable, and he's so, like, crippled by his fear of being undesirable that he's like, I have to lean into being a genius and convincing this girl that I'm her dad. Ral just walks in and he kind of gets what he wants.
Now, let me
And-
counter this. Okay, so you relate to that thing of the Phantom, this undesirable, but
No, I don't relate to being undesirable.
you don't
That's
relate
what
to
I'm
that.
saying.
Oh, that's the part where you're
That's
like,
the fucked
Yeah.
up.
I relate to Phantom, but I'm a hot Phantom.
I relate to. I mean, and the Phantom is hot.
Underneath the
but,
mask
like,
is just an even sexier half
yeah,
of the
yeah, yeah.
face.
They're like, oh god, like he's like, don't look.
Oh man, I've always wondered how long it takes to get into that makeup. Like, because if you have to do it every day, that's
No,
or if,
that
or if
must
one
be-
day he showed up late, the train was broken.
Yeah.
So when he took off the mask, he just went late. They just went with no makeup on, and they just thought maybe we'll get by. It's a
Yeah.
matinee.
yeah.
You like Phantom? You don't like Phantom?
I don't really. I mean, I listened to like when I was a kid growing up, musical theater. Like I liked the songs. I saw it. I will say I saw it in middle school, and did less for me after that. I was
Sure.
like, oh,
Back then, I think did it open in the 80s?
yeah,
There's this chandelier falls.
Yes.
And apparently, when that happened in the 80s, it was the sickest fucking thing that had ever happened on a stage. And you see it now, and it's like.
I was expecting it to really swing down, and it felt very like slow.
Yeah, it's like Miss Saigon. There was a helicopter on stage, and
Yeah.
that used to be the biggest.
Well, they didn't have the internet.
Yes,
That's
so
true.
true.
They had to see a strong practical effect.
People talk about the car in Back to the Future now, and that's very impressive. Everyone says that's
Yeah.
very impressive. The car at the end flies.
Did you see the movie Phantom of the Opera?
Of course, I've seen the movie Phantom of the Opera.
You're a real fan.
My favorite Phantom of the Opera is 25th anniversary at the Royal Albert Hall. I love Phantom of the Opera. Now, mind you, I don't know this much about other musicals. I know this much about Phantom of the
Phantom.
Opera.
Yeah.
Wow.
I auditioned for ensemble non-union audition. This was in college.
Oh.
And I realized like how awful the auditioning process was.
Yeah,
'Cause
what was that like?
I mean,
Were you just singing like opera?
no, you could go in with
Like, were you just,
you could go in with 8 bars of whatever, and I did
Eight?
it was 8. This is
I
like
don't know enough about musical theater to know what it means when you said 8 like that.
8. Okay,
quick.
so
Is
8
that a
bars
lot
would
or a
be like,
little?
it'd be like if to take a song from Phantom, maybe like if you went in, you were like, ah, and you got to do that 2 more times,
Okay.
and then you had to go,
yeah.
Okay.
and that was your whole audition. And it's very 10, 15 seconds, 20 seconds.
Yeah.
It's
Very
nothing.
quick. It's very
But yeah, it was basically like you should have to do this in college if you're studying musical theater because it really opened my eyes. Where you show up at like 7 in the morning and you sign up and you go to the special place they have auditions and they're forced to audition every month or every 2 months, even if they're not necessarily looking for new roles. That's just part of their agreement with the union to keep opportunities for people to join in.
Yeah.
So you are there. And they have the equity calls and then the non-equity calls. So you're at the bottom of the fucking ladder.
Yeah.
And there's no way you are getting it. Everyone's wasting each other's time.
Yeah.
And maybe if you walk in and you do a backflip and you sing the highest note in the world and you're the greatest star of all time, maybe you'll break
Yeah.
in. But it's just people spinning their wheels.
You know, I did it. I only did it a couple times, and one of the times I ended up getting an offer for the non-union tour of West Side Story
Wow.
as the like nerdy virgin like guy that comes into the dance,
God.
and he's like, well, you're dancing too close to each other. That part, you know, like. And then I already had another gig for that. It was like one of those things where you're like, I had already said yes to the Shakespeare thing that was going to be a year long. But I was like imagining doing that show for a year where you're just in that one scene and that's it. And then you're just like in West Side Story doing that one scene. But
I've said it before and I've said it again. I said the way to get to Broadway is you join a sketch comedy team for about 8 years.
8 years.
And then one day you're understudying Josh Gad.
Yeah.
And that's how it works.
That's how he works. Sketch comedy.
Okay, so you want to play a role. Can you sing it?
Can I sing is a question. Can I sing is a real question.
But you
No,
must
no
enjoy
offense, but
singing.
I
you,
love to sing.
Yeah.
And I've actually like since taking hormones and my voice has changed, I've like really kind of come into my singing voice.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that a real person who knows real things about music would say that about me, but I can say that about myself and my feelings.
Can you talk to me about voice change with hormones? Because I'm so curious how similar it was to, like, when our voices.
It's the same, or I mean, I think it's similar.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not a doctor, but it's basically the same mechanisms. Maybe it's different because I was like 30 years old or whatever. So maybe it starts from a different place, but it's like basically the exact same mechanism.
What pit were you talking at a completely different pitch pre-hormones?
Oh yeah, you could hear. It's crazy because I don't think I sound different, but if you listen to like an old video of me, I sound like completely different.
Yeah.
And singing wise, I kind of went from like a high alto to a low alto, so it's not that.
Sure.
It's not that big a deal, but it's that like I used to have like a much higher range, and I was always afraid of it. And
Yeah.
I always was like, well, like everybody's always afraid to sing. Like everybody feels self-conscious about singing. And then my voice changed, and I was like, oh no, I felt self-conscious about the way my voice sounded.
If you stopped hormones,
My voice would not go
your
back.
voice would not go back.
Yeah, that doesn't change.
Because if let me tell you something. If you told me that like in college I could have finally sung that A if I took some estrogen, I'd be taking that estrogen.
Yeah, but it doesn't work that way,
No,
unfortunately.
that sucks.
I know. We wish it worked that way, because then that would be great for a lot of people.
And did you go through a phase? Are you pulling a video of?
I'm trying to
older-
find
yeah,
a
yeah, no, take
video
your
of
time.
me talking.
I'm trying to think. Like, did you go through a long phase of like, "Hi everybody," like a
I don't remember like struggling with that much. The only thing I remember is when I played when I was in Annie Jr. and I was in 7th grade.
This is
My
bald
Versus
cap.
Annie Senior.
I was in the midst of my voice changing, and there were certain things I had to sing up the octave because I couldn't go down. I couldn't sing low enough. So I remember like
You're like,
I
Annie,
couldn't- I
I'm your
couldn't-
dad.
I remember there was one part where it was like, "You won't be an orphan for long," and I'd be like, "You won't be an orphan," like that kind of thing.
That delivery is the delivery of that line.
And Annie's like, I got a mom and a dad.
So I do remember that's the only time I remember being like, "Oh, my voice is changing and it's weird," and I have to, you're like,
Do you find it?
I found
Play
a
it.
video
Play
here.
it,
Let's see.
School, they teach about the first Thanksgiving. They always teach about the first Thanksgiving because the story of the first Thanksgiving.
"Wow, yeah,
Yeah, it's completely different.
yeah."
The story of the first Thanksgiving. It's like, what are you talking about?
And did you go through a cracking phase?
Yeah, of course. It's just like,
Yeah.
natal male puberty.
Yeah.
And I like do it on stage a lot where I'm like, me? Like, what?
And when your voice fully changed, were you like, yes, hell yeah?
Yeah. And I was really afraid of that, actually.
Sure, that's
first.
so you don't even know where it's gonna land.
Right, exactly. And it's so intimate, and it's so, we talk for a living. So,
Like people, like guys who like they talk down.
Oh,
they're like
yeah.
here. I wonder if even when they were younger, if their voices were not that high, or whether like it just like could you have taken hormones and then you, hey,
maybe. I already was talking at the lowest level of my voice. So, like, to me, it doesn't sound that drastic. And, like, sometimes there are guys who go on hormones and they seem to have, like, a really drastic change, but it's because they used to talk higher. And I talked low. So I'm kind of just, like, I came down to where I was.
did you start hormones during COVID?
Like, right before, like, November 2019.
Was it being able to like go through all those changes in quarantine? Do you feel like that was like nice?
Kind of, because it sort of was just like me alone with myself, and I just would sort of like look in the mirror
Yeah.
and like
Yeah.
see what I saw. But like all sorts of, it was a crazy experience because I like grew my hair long. So if you like look at my like Instagram, it looks like I went through like a big gender transition, but I didn't.
Sure.
I had long hair. That's all.
Yeah.
I like before that I like looked like this. And then I would go outside and I had long hair and I was wearing a mask, and for the first time in a really long time people were reading me as a woman like all the time.
Sure.
Which like wasn't even normal for me like before that.
Yeah.
So that was a little weird. And then it was interesting to like come back out in the world and be like, does anybody notice I'm a little different?
Sure.
I don't know. Do you
you
notice?
want-
Do you notice I'm a little different, Gianmarco, from when we met?
I certainly think it's like one of those where I wouldn't know the social construct of like, hey,
You wouldn't know what happened.
or just like, hey, loving the stash. Like I don't know if that's like whether one like volunteers or
Yeah.
you just like hello. Like, did you like people to go to be like, hey, your voice has gotten really deep?
I noticed like people would be like, you look really good. And I would be like,
Sure.
okay. Like,
Yeah.
you've noticed something is happening.
Yeah.
What if they said they're like, well, you look fine,
Yeah.
but more masculine.
Or they were like, are you okay? Like,
sure. Any weird compliments? Any? Was that the weirdest? Are you okay?
are you? No, that was a joke. But I mean, I wish somebody would ask me if I'm okay.
Sure.
I don't know. People are pretty. I can't tell if people can tell. I feel like also because I'm Asian, I don't know if people can tell. Asian people are pretty androgynous in the Western world. We're kind of viewed as kind of sexless in general. So I was like, I don't know if anybody even knows. Like,
That's so funny. So San Francisco is where you were born.
yes.
What is? I know my view of San Francisco is just what people talk about now.
Have you been?
I've done shows there, but it's
Yeah.
very not enough to like get a sense of the world at all. I just know what Silicon Valley stuff has done damage wise.
Yeah, and it's a little hard. They're not amazing comedy audiences in San Francisco.
Really?
I find
Why do
San
you think?
Francisco proper. I found and this is like I've done great shows in San Francisco. I'm doing Sketchfest later in February, but I find they have a hard time laughing at themselves. Maybe it's just me, and it's that like I want to get on stage and call everyone a gentrifier, and they don't like that.
Yeah, I can imagine
It's just you holding up a mirror to them. being like,
Right.
You're a gentrifier.
Yeah.
Yourself. No, that's funny. Well, it's famously expensive to
Yeah,
live there.
it's very expensive.
Like I think it's more expensive.
It's more
than New
expensive
York.
than here.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
What about your parents? Were they San Francisco originally?
My mom was. My dad's from LA.
Like, are they part of the gentrification too, or were they there before the? I never understood. Where do you put the pin?
We own property. However, we have owned that property since like the 70s or before. Like it's we've been out there a long time.
Is it a fun place to grow up?
Is it a fun place to grow up?
Yeah. Tell me, this is the downside. What sucks about growing up in San Francisco?
It sucks now. It was really fun to grow up in. Now it's hell on earth. And like
Really?
almost the stuff like that was fun about it is gone now.
What's like the biggest thing that has changed that you feel like was fun and now is gone?
There used to be I don't know what this says that this is the first thing I think of, but there used to be a lot more of a quality of public nudity in San Francisco.
Really?
Yeah.
What level?
Like
Chest out? Just topless? Everyone topless?
like at events, there was a run called Beta Breakers that's like a marathon basically, and the serious part of the marathon is early in the morning, and then later in the day it would devolve into this sort of like parade of like naked people in full body paint. And like me and my Girl Scout troop would put out little cups of water. We would be serving water to like naked old guys in glitter body paint. And like they don't do that anymore.
think
Like
that's
there's
so
no nudity
nice.
allowed. Yeah, it's
When did that
nice. It's cool. Recently, I want to say in the last 10 years.
I was
It's just
think-
not allowed anymore.
I think they still do the run, but there's no more nudity.
I hate that.
Yeah, isn't it awful?
Pro nudity.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's awful.
By the way, I was saying to Tova the other day, I was like, isn't it funny that people worrying about drag brunches just disappeared from the public consciousness entirely because it it wasn't a threat?
I don't think they've disappeared.
Not the drag brunches, but I'm saying like I haven't heard that as like a talking point from the right in like it feels like it just got buried. And I was like, yeah, because it wasn't a big fucking deal to begin with, you fucking bitches. So I love public nudity. I'm a big fan. I've on the record for saying SoulCycle is a fascist organization for not letting me take off my shirt.
I know.
I
Did you get in trouble for that?
I'm happy to rehash it. I took off my shirt, and then the teacher, like to the whole class, but just to me, like, we got to keep our shirts on for this, and I had to put back on my wet.
Ew.
And I find it. I'll say it again. I find it. My biology. I sweat a great deal. That's part of my and it's very uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
And we are in a class that is about sweating.
Mm-hmm.
It is dark, it is hot, it's about sweating. It is uncomfortable for my body. There are not as many outfits. I bet if I went to the SoulCycle clothes, they don't have this shirt for me, a shirt that ends here and is just my tits. It doesn't exist.
You should
And
wear a crop top to SoulCycle.
I'm
should.
considering it. I'm
Yeah.
considering it. And I want it so that they see me in that and they go, you know what?
Yeah.
Better without the shirt. Because if you go to like CrossFit, where I feel like there's more men in CrossFit, everyone, you can take off your shirt in any CrossFit because it's like, well, yeah, because you sweat in this.
Yeah.
And SoulCycle, which I feel like is slanted more towards women, I feel like that space doesn't allow me to be part of it because I'm uncomfortable. And I don't believe that my nipples are a threat. Everyone should be able to be topless, including at marathons in San Francisco.
And bottomless.
And bottomless.
Yeah, bottomless.
Fucking, I'll put the bike seat in my asshole.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Winnie the Pooh it.
Yeah.
I just think it's amazing when you talk about that marathon. It's like, yeah, that's fine. Like,
It was fine. I was like 8 years old. Like, I keep saying, like, this stuff is fine. I was like a child doing this. I was not traumatized. It was not sexual. I was giving some water to naked people because they were thirsty, and it was the afternoon, and it was hot outside. And it was even hot because they were covered in body paint. And I have a fairly healthy sexual life and fairly
Sure.
healthy boundaries, I would say.
Well, that's the thing too, is like the assumption that equating nudity with like
Sexuality.
sexuality.
Exactly.
Like they're the same thing and they're always connected. Like it's just a human body. Do you know? It's like a crazy thing that we've just all done where we're like, oh, naked, that means sex.
No, exactly.
You know,
Under
and
all
you're
of
like-
our clothes, we're naked. We're all naked right now.
wow.
Wow.
I agree. By the way, can I bring up? So I want to do more. I want to do more flyers. Like you like show off your body in your flyers. I want to do like my version of that. And I had a thong that I wore for
I bought
an old
you.
sketch
Yeah.
that he wrote. And I always wanted to be naked for it, but the team was like, "That's too much." Again, I'm always on the nudist. I'm on the nudist side of all this, and so I did this photo shoot, and I had this thong, and like, I'm a flamingo, and it's me with flamingos. It's like the trying to fit into Florida tour or whatever.
Uh-huh.
And the problem with the thong, you can see the straps, and so I finally got this. I finally got.
Oh
the first,
my God.
This is a cock sock,
Yeah.
and the only one they had on Amazon.
American flag.
Only one they had on
Now is
Amazon
not the
was
time,
an American
Gianmarco.
flag.
This-
Now is not the
now-
time.
It was either this or the Israeli flag, and I went with this. And it works. But I'm very excited to use it for my next photo shoot.
Man, I
It's
can't
like-
wait to see these pictures.
It's funny that they sell it for like $21 because you're like, there's nothing here. This is.
What did you have to search for to get that?
I think I Amazoned cocksock.
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 Or is there a more official term? Whatever they use.
I
it
know.
For like,
I don't know that I'm super familiar with that term.
Well, you worked at a sex shop.
I did, but we
They
didn't.
wouldn't have had that. That's like for acting. Do you know what I mean?
I don't think this is for act. This is for a very specific.
Can you
fetish.
imagine? Can you imagine you have to do a sex scene and that's
That's what they give you. That's really
the
funny.
nudity thing?
Especially in the time we're in right now. You're like, oh my God.
You just have to really get into it.
Yeah, a really, really patriotic intimacy coordinator.
Do you think so? So being in, because that's what I think about San Francisco when I think about San Francisco of old.
Yeah,
Where-
but that's like an idea of San Francisco from like the 80s. I mean, it was like the 2000s when I was doing it, but it's like a 80s idea.
But it still resonated, at least in when you were a kid.
Yeah, totally.
It was how you say, was it a sex positive, queer positive
Sex
place?
positive, weird, artistic,
See, that's
kind
what
of
I
like
love about it.
bohemian. It's not like that now. Now it's like
Whose fault is that?
And what happened to all those
Jeff
people?
Bezos.
Oh.
Really?
Probably.
Sure.
Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, they're all out there. It's their fault.
Yeah. What happened to all those artists and people? Did they have
They
to
got
leave, or they
priced
just
out.
priced out?
Or they got old. They were already old
Yeah.
when I was seeing their naked bodies.
Would you go, if that marathon came back, would you go full nude for it?
Would I go full nude for it? No, it costs more money to see my naked body than that.
Sure. So, but that's my, I feel, I want to do that, and I'm too scared. I know you wouldn't, would you?
No.
I
You could
wanna
do
be
it. You
that.
could do it. You could do it. You just have to find a place where it's appropriate to do that. Sounds like you've been trying in a lot of inappropriate places.
Gianmarco's like, what? I can't supermarket? I can't take my shirt off.
This is a fascist establishment.
Our guest did not agree with me. Alingon did not agree with me. I truly believe, I understand the argument that someone could say to me, Gianmarco, you're not letting this be a safe space. You're going to make people uncomfortable. Like what they said is we want people to feel safe. And my argument was like, no, the repression of this is the repression of all
No, I agree
people's
with
nipples.
that. I agree with that. Yes,
They're
people
not going to
should
feel safe because
all
you're screaming at them,
Yeah.
not because of your tits.
shirt off. Fascism.
What is wrong? Why? Why don't you feel safe? Why don't you feel safe, women?
I also
You could
understand-
take off your top too. Go
the
ahead,
problem.
take it
All
off.
of you.
Take it
all
off
of you
right
take
now.
off your tops right now.
That's the problem. That's the problem. Where like me saying that people go, oh, yeah, we can take our titties out,
Yeah.
but it's like that's not what I'm saying. I'm truly saying, be free, be free. We all paid $34. They can hire someone to clean the seats. God. So
The thing that I think is interesting about like New York City law is that out on the street, it is totally fine for you to do that, and it would be fine also for women to do that. It's actually
fully legal.
I believe it is.
Every time I go to Times Square, there's someone naked.
Yeah, I believe it's
They were
legal.
the paint.
Barely. I can see.
You can at least like as a woman, quote unquote, be topless like out on the street in New York. But it's actually like when you pay $34 to go to Soul Cycle that you're not allowed to do that anymore.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a zoning thing, or like once you like enter a private establishment kind of thing.
Okay, so you're allowed to be topless in New York. Bottoms, no, you have to.
Bottoms, you probably have to.
I think you got to have something a little bit.
Yeah.
Thong probably is fine. You know,
Yeah.
I'm just spitballing. I'm assuming.
And in San Francisco, it was just. I wonder if it was anytime, or is like, well, for the parade, genitals can be out.
I mean, definitely for the parade, genitals could be out. But I used to like. Some of this is like stuff I talk about in my show. I used to sell Girl Scout cookies on the street corner in the Castro. That was like a designated like Girl Scout cookie selling spot.
Yeah.
And there used to be 3 naked old guys who would just hang out. Like they were like hanging out in front of Citibank. Like they weren't doing anything.
Yeah.
They just were there. But they were naked. And like we were like, yeah, those are the naked guys that hang out here.
And did you feel like your school, like just this was part of life, so it wasn't that crazy? Did your parents say,
Yeah.
those are naked people?
Yeah. We were like in front of a porn shop called Does Your Mother Know? Like that was just where we were at, selling Girl Scout cookies.
Sex stores, that vibe of like, does your mother know? It makes me uncomfortable. I'm not great in sex stores. I get shy.
What do you want it to be
Okay,
named?
yeah. What's the issue? Let's dig into this.
I don't
I
know.
think often they're bright.
they're
I
bright.
think we can play around with
You would
lighting.
rather
like
it
the
be dark.
grungy?
Not grungy. I think we can play maybe not fluorescent. Something a little more. I don't know.
I'm repressed. Let me own this.
Okay,
Sexually
after saying
repressed.
all that stuff about public nudity, now you're gonna be like, I'm repressed and I'm shy.
I think okay. let me. I think I'm less repressed about nudity. I'm more repressed about like pleasure.
This is the conversation about nudity versus sexuality, and the two of them not being
Yes.
Yeah.
inherently
Yes.
the same thing.
Yeah.
And I think I'm probably more like fine with nudity. This feels weird to even say. My father was like definitely like he would just change in front of
Totally,
you.
totally.
He wouldn't go like, let me go to my room to put on my. And I didn't do it to him. I don't know when the last time my dad saw my cock.
Yeah.
Long time.
Yeah. I don't know.
When was the last time you saw yours?
Yeah.
I remember like my dad, he was very comfortable with that. My mom, on the other hand, obviously very different. But like I walked in once and she was like topless and she was naked and she screamed.
Oh no.
She screamed
Oh,
and like went
no.
away.
Oh.
And then one time I remember it's like it's one of those things where you're like, well, that's deep in my brain. My mom the whole family was together. And my mom was doing feels very personal, was doing like a back bend, just like showing off or whatever. She like does Pilates and shit. And a nipple slipped out.
Ooh.
And what was funny is that it was me, my sisters, my stepfather, and it was only me that had to like just quickly leave the room. But for my sisters, they're women, it was fine. And my stepdad, he's titty fucking her. It was fine.
God.
And so it was just one of those things where it's like, oh, there's different relationships here, but mine's the one in the Venn diagram that's like, and then you go
Yeah.
away.
These are formative gendered experiences.
Even though everyone in that room has sucked on those titties.
Yeah.
That's the reality.
Yeah.
And again, I'm not like, why can't we live in a world where I'm like, hey, mom,
Yeah.
nice.
Okay. So, but
It's
a sex shop. What makes you? What is uncomfortable? What do you think makes you uncomfortable?
I think I'm
said
not
you have a thing with pleasure.
comfortable, like discussing with honestly a loved one, let alone a stranger. What makes me go like, oh, that's too much. That's so.
It's interesting. I feel like it'd be more easy to
Yeah,
talk to
I
a
was gonna say,
stranger
yeah, which
than to,
one?
like a parent.
Yeah. Well, I was even like a stranger versus like the sexual partner.
Yeah.
It's I don't know. There's something here. I've said the reason that I think I wouldn't be into getting pegged is because and I also feel this is a very sexual conversation. Feel free if anyone's uncomfortable, let me know.
Oh, please.
Is that, and this is the same thing with like oral sex, if I'm just receiving, there's something about, I would like me and my partners to both be experiencing pleasure, then I feel comfortable because I'm like, we're both in this kind of silly state, as opposed to just me and you're fully sober. In fact, you're working.
You just
To
have the
me,
69.
to me, probably, yeah.
Yeah.
Because there's something about that's where I'm repressed, or I feel like uncomfortable. I'm like, oh, this feels embarrassing. And it's the same with like getting pegged. I think I'd sooner have a guy fuck me, and we're both in that state, than someone with a device separate.
You don't
from
like the
themselves.
attention on you.
I don't think I can fully say that. I have a podcast, and
No,
my
that's
whole
what
life
I'm.
is
No, that's actually what I'm drawing attention to right now. Is that here you are? You're a performer. We just talked about like being somebody who loves to get up on stage in front of everyone,
Yeah.
and be the only person who's being paid attention to. But then in this other setting, which is sexual, you don't like
Being
having that exact same position,
Yeah.
which is where you're the person, kind of
I think,
performing pleasure.
I think there's something that in me that something about feeling pleasure is to be submissive to a degree, and I think I have
To
a
lose
deep
control.
resistance to being fully at the, like, there's something that's like, ooh, that would be fun, but there's something in me that fights it.
Interesting.
When Nicole pegs you,
Yeah.
are you like, this is better than regular sex?
We haven't tried it yet, but never say never, you know? I
And
don't
there's
know.
not, they're all just different. They're all just different. It's all in the sex matrix.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Would you, when you worked at that sex shop, would you ever gift a sex toy to someone?
I mean, I was constantly giving sex toys to people because I kept getting them for free, and
Sure.
there's only so many vibrators you can own before you're like, okay, I get it. It vibrates.
What did people come in and just genuinely not know what they wanted? And,
Totally.
and be like, ask for guidance.
Totally.
Like full on like, so what do you recommend?
Sort of.
That's the other thing. Asking a recommendation is like, hey, so what do you use on your genitals? It's
Yeah.
very
No, it's a lot, and it's a little hard because, like, speaking from the other side of the desk, it's like so normal for us to talk about it
uh-huh.
that I think sometimes we would be catching people off guard because we're saying like a big thing that would like shock people but was a really normal thing for us to ask was like, okay, you're looking for a vibrator, or are you looking for something that does internal or external or both? And people would be really taken aback by that.
Yeah.
And for us, we're sort of like, it's a question about a product. Like, it's like a functional question about the product.
Yeah.
Sure.
And we have to ask that question. We had to ask it like 100 times a day. So it was like,
But would you, like the same way that a waiter would be like, oh, the filet here, it's delicious.
oh,
Would
no,
you be
we
like,
would. Yeah. This is my favorite. Yeah. Super soft.
I'm already
squishy
blushing, and I'm
outside.
not even so theoretical. I'm like, okay. Would you? Okay, so if
Do you have gigglers? People who just came in to like,
Oh, yeah.
like
We had to. Oh, my God. I mean, you learn a lot about the human condition working at a sex shop. People just totally lose their minds in there. Like, people who are probably totally normal people who are probably perfectly fine right outside come in and they just go nuts. Like, it was like the number of times I would have to be like, sir, please don't throw that dildo. Please don't throw it.
where were they throwing it?
To their friend across the store.
yeah. That's how I felt when I went to the Museum of Sex.
Yeah.
I was like, I want to go around everyone and be like, grow up.
People just go crazy.
Like they just
Stop. Let people enjoy.
they're
No,
being-
but it
it's
was-
it's like a weird thing where you're like, grow up. Like
I understand a store, but the sex. Why do you think that museum exists?
I
so
don't
people
know.
Can go get.
But there
their
were
fucking,
some of the exhibits here, like it's not like funny, like some of it, yes, is designed to be like, isn't this kind of funny, blah blah blah. But some of it's just like historical like things, and people being like truly just kind of going around and being like, there's a penis. Like we're like, I don't know if that's
Sure,
you know what I mean? Like
sure.
you're a little like, okay, grow up.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like it's that thing where you're like, because they are so repressed.
yes.
That's what I'm responding to is being like, you just should be looking more of this. Or also like
Exactly.
the fact that you are looking at this, you just happen to be with someone right now, so you're uncomfortable because you're experiencing this now with someone. Whereas when you do it, usually you're alone, probably in your, you know what I mean?
That's
like
why people always
like you're not laughing. They're not looking at porn at home alone, being like. Like they're doing that because they're uncomfortable. They're with another human doing it. Right now.
Whenever watching a movie with my family, my mom or my sisters, and there's like suddenly an intense sex scene in the movie, I'll reach over and I'll take my sister's hand, and she's like, "Get the fuck off!"
Oh my god.
But that's why those movie scenes like freak people out because it's like, we're so fucked up as a society. We're so repressed and broken that these like suddenly we're sitting next to each other. We're broken. When was the last time? Because when I go to a sex shop, at least most of the times in my life, it's been to get something for a sketch.
Yeah,
That makes sense.
Truly.
No,
like,
that
would you
makes
notice
sense.
you'd be like,
Truly.
those fucking sketch comedians over there.
Yeah.
And you'd always like go by. I think the most like graphic thing to me at the sex stores, it's just like it's like the bottom half of a. It's just like the ass and the vagina, and it's like a serial killer. As if you just chopped off.
Oh,
the
yes.
holes. You're just like, I just want the part with the holes.
No, you learn a lot about society that way.
Yeah.
And you see these like gigantic sex
Dolls.
and I'm like, are these gonna like go viral? Is everyone gonna have one hidden, or are they just too big? Are men gonna be hiding it in their fucking ovens? Like, where are you gonna put this? In New York, you have such little space. Where are you gonna hide?
You have to have a closet for it. You know.
a full.
I mean, it's a
You have
body.
such little room, and you're like, fuck, do I have button-down shirts?
It's not-
or a full-on
It's
sex
not
doll.
a New York thing. I think it's.
I know. I agree.
It's
I
gotta
agree.
be like
That's a suburban
That's a
phenomenon.
suburban thing where you have extra rooms that you're very proud of. You have all the square footage, that you can brag about. Then you can have your sex
That
doll.
finally makes more men leave the city. They're like, I needed room
You
for
need
my
room
sex
for
doll.
I mean, they're very expensive.
Yeah.
It's
What's because like a bad sex doll is like bad.
well, yeah, not like a blow up. Like that's like a balloon, but like a real sex doll, like a real doll, is like $10,000.
Oh
like,
my
yeah,
God.
like this is like an investment.
Guys, on that note, please
join the
Patreon.
Patreon.
Patreon.com/downside. At 500, we're going to buy a sex doll to have in the middle.
No, we're not. Not at 500. Wait, to share? We share custody.
Just sit
I get
right
it 30%
here.
of the time. You get it 70%
I
of the time.
bet you. I bet you for sex dolls, just to make it more affordable, they'll have you can remove just the bottom part, so you can come in, like you'd go to a
for
pool
cleaning.
hall and you'd have your own.
I still would not be. It would. We could not share a sex doll.
That's a bridge too far.
Yeah,
Russell,
no.
why is all the hair falling out? I told you, stop pulling. It's a fun job. It's a cool. How long were you working at that? Which one did you work at?
I was there. I was at Pleasure Chest it was on fucking Midtown East, like a block away
Oh.
from Bloomingdale. So it was psycho clientele. I did that until 2015, 2013 to 2016, 2015.
That's a long time.
Adult store in Midtown. That is kind of why I feel like it's interesting to imagine working that there or working it in a small town area too, where people are probably nervous about being seen there.
I mean, it was its own really specific vibe. It was like mid-30s professionals who women who've never had an orgasm. People literally coming from Bloomingdale's or coming from fucking Magnolia Bakery. Or Baked by Melissa and then stopping in our store.
Oh,
Did anyone ever come back and go, "Oh, thank you so much"?
Yeah.
They did.
Yeah. I had a woman who had literally had her first orgasm because of some vibrator that I had sold her and came back and told me that.
That'd be very.
Yeah, so what I'm saying is I was changing lives.
Yeah.
yeah.
That's something that you can never imagine. Some guy coming in and being like, "I had my first orgasm finally." Oh my God! I had to buy the slab of the person. Did you get? Because I think you had a bit about this. You got a Hasidic.
Yes, I did have a bit about this.
But were Hasids coming in general? Or was that just one time?
No, I think they came in. Yeah.
And how did they look at things? Because I'm so confused as to what are the rules.
I don't know what the rules are. You would know better than I would. They were just they kind of had a don't talk to me vibe.
I don't talk to Hasids that much.
I
just
was-
'cause I'm a Jew.
I mean, no, I don't think you do. But
No, I know you.
you fall closer on the
You're right. Gun to your
Yeah.
head. Who are you going to ask the Hasidic question to? It's going to be me.
you fall closer on the chart than I do.
No, I'm so confused. Because they come to comedy shows too. They would come to LOL, and it's just one of these things where I'm like,
They hit me up on Grindr sometimes.
no way.
Yeah. There's at least one guy who hits me up every so often. I don't talk to
The
him
same
'cause,
guy.
again, I don't know what the rules are, but I am like, whoa.
What does he say?
Do you want to fuck? I don't
But
know.
he's trying to.
Yeah,
fuck.
yeah. And he's trying to fuck me. So,
Wow.
pretty loose rules.
Yeah, that's a whole lot to explain to the family back home.
Yeah.
That's see, it makes me again not that because in those communities they have these strict rules, and the guys in those communities are breaking them, and they've created a system where they get the phones where it facilitates them allowing to do it, and I just think the women in that community don't even have the room to explore. That story though in your stand-up, it is a true story.
Oh, yeah.
Would you mind reminding us?
Totally. Basically, the story is that a middle-aged Hasidic Jewish man came into the store and he was looking around, and it became clear after a while that he was looking for a male chastity device, a cock cage,
And just to review, it's like
like
kind of
that, but
this,
metal and with a lock.
and the premise is you couldn't get
You can't get hard.
aroused,
Yeah.
but or it would hurt. Or like you'd have like a
Yeah, you would just. There's not really enough space. It's
Yeah.
like it's close to the size of like a soft dick. So if you get hard, there's not really anywhere for it to go.
Yeah.
What if we did a Patreon and we're both wearing and we can't get hard the whole Patreon?
How would we do that? Anytime we're doing a Patreon episode, we're fully erect.
Fully right.
whole
That's why
time.
the cameras always see.
I'm
So
like, how many boners are you getting when we do Patreons?
you guys got to join to find
gotta
out. Let
join
me
to
tell you what
find
you're
out.
missing out on. Patreon.com/downside. So he comes in and he says, "Can I have a?"
He knew what he wanted.
Yes, he had been sent on a mission. He had a dominatrix who had been like, go to the sex shop.
Maybe Lainey.
Lane, yeah.
Lainey. We had a guest on who did Dom stuff.
I love Doms. We love them. God bless Doms. But then so he ends up like buying this chastity device, and then he was like, well, like, you have to let me into your bathroom so I can put it on. And we were like, okay. So I like take him down to the bathroom. And I can hear him like jangling around.
Just chainmail.
Yeah. And then he comes out and he's kind of like adjusting his belt and he's kind of like talking to himself. And then as we go up the stairs, he goes, I flushed the key. Yeah.
And he'd paid for it?
Yeah.
He'd paid for it. So he told you I flushed the key just to let you know?
Just to let me know. Just, yeah.
How
Well, you responded to that. You go,
I just let him go.
mhm.
I was like, okay, well, good luck out there. Like, have fun.
how knowing the device would he?
He'll be fine.
He'll be fine.
He'll be okay.
He could break it.
He got a kind of cheap one.
Yeah.
So I kind of think worst case scenario, he has to buy another and use the key from that one. But it wasn't that. It was like $30.
Like so cheap, like if he got hard enough, it would explode.
No. It was pretty cagey.
But like, what is it? Is it a belt, leather belt? So we could like take scissors and
No, that's not how it works. It's like it's more like a cock ring with like a cage on it. Have you used cock rings?
like in the. I think the first person it's actually like we got one of those like $5 ones. Like this will be
Sure,
fun.
like a stretchy one.
Yeah, one of those. And then I was like, this is not.
Yeah.
all.
So classically, I'm pretty sure this is true. It's been a long time since I've been in the business. It's like a cock ring, so it goes like behind the balls, and then the lock is
Behind the
attached to
balls.
like that part. So it's not like a belt. It's like right here only.
So how would you get like if he truly
Similar to
needed,
your pouch, but just like
but if he needed to get it off, what would need to be done? Like a saw,
a saw.
or could you pull hard enough?
I think you would have had to maybe get another key.
He's not gonna be able to pee though, right?
He can pee.
Oh.
Yeah.
You could be, but it's
There's
not,
a-
it's gonna be a mess. You should sit for that one.
This one, I think there was actually
We
a
just
good amount of
figured out the
space. Let me
logistics.
see if I can
You're
find.
acting like you
Let
have
me
one
see if I
on
can
right now.
find.
Yeah, like
You're
how do
like,
I get this thing off? What do I do?
You're so specific.
Okay, when was the last time you went into a sex shop?
I think it truly was like for a sketch comedy thing.
You and your wife have never.
See, you
been
guys
like,
are part of the problem.
We're part of the problem. I just I actually have never been to one in New York outside of sketch comedy stuff.
How often do you think Nicole's going in alone?
A lot.
Going like, please, I need another.
But
If Nicole bought,
we should
a
both
full
go. We
sex
should
doll.
go together and
If-
buy things.
if Nicole bought a $10,000 male sex doll,
My God,
would you?
would I
feel
notice
insecure?
it? Yeah, I would notice
Would
it.
you feel insecure? Would you go, oh, great, honey?
I mean, I think we'd talk about it if she invested $10,000
They don't.
in our
It'd be more a
and
financial thing than
also
an emotional-
just a planning thing of like we have a 620-foot square apartment.
You know,
So-
they don't really make. They don't make like male sex dolls. They do. They make male sex dolls, but they're for men. They don't make like male sex dolls for women because women don't do that. Because women are normal.
When you say they're made for men, like meaning their functionality only works.
I mean, anybody can use it, but like it's like a thing marketed for gay men. It's not marketed for women. Women don't buy like a sex doll. That's a guy thing.
Now, is that because of the patriarchy or something else?
No, it's socialized. It's socialized that men are like, wouldn't it be great if there was a woman you could fuck that didn't talk?
You were saying that to me before Jess showed up.
That's what I was saying before.
Yeah.
Every day, hey Russ, how you doing?
No, see, I know.
I'm doing a lot better if I could have a woman I could fuck who didn't talk.
No, I know you guys. No, I know.
We should get 2 sex dolls, a man and a woman, to like just for for the room. You know, like for like they could sit there. They could be the.
They could be there
We could
together.
have another camera on them. Just cut to them never talking. You know, that'd be fun.
They should have mics too, though.
Change the different outfits.
Yeah. So you don't go to sex stores.
Well, you don't go.
Tova, once in a while, Tova will be like, "Let's go," and I'm really fucking.
We should go
shy.
together.
It's so lame. I know it's lame.
Hey, listen,
I think you can work on that. I don't
We'll
think
go
you have
together.
to just accept.
What does it mean to work on it though? Just to be like,
just go. We need to go more.
you want us to go together?
I think it would be kind of nice. You know, we
Sure.
could go. We could pick some things out, not for each other, but like
If you gifted me like something, because I always look at it, it's like to me, sex toys are even more cost prohibitive. Not like I would buy a nice shoe for the same price, but because it's a sex toy, I'm like $150 for a thing. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
No,
It's
I
an
know.
investment. It's an investment in your pleasure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll buy you something
Okay.
next year.
Great.
You should get each other gift cards and then.
Yeah.
Go
That would do
shopping.
it. You know what? I think a sex store gift card is good because that is a place that people like myself have like a hump they have to get over. So if you get them a gift card there, they have to go,
Yeah.
and that's good.
Yeah, and then you don't have to feel too. It's not really your money.
Yes, that's true. Okay, we're doing fine time. So, well, good for you. Do you feel
Well, good for you.
good for
Thanks.
you?
Thank you.
Good
Thank
for you. Thank
What
you
are-
for
what are-
working
what are
at
your-
Pleasure Chest.
What are you? Since I've shared, do you have any repressions in your life, or is it not sexual? It's other places. We all are repressed about things.
I think I have the opposite problem where I am using sex to express myself in ways I don't feel I can in life.
Okay, say more.
Like, okay, like I'm in an era of my life right now where I like hook up a lot. I
Sure.
like have a lot of sex with strangers.
Uh-huh.
And I'm very in sex, I'm like very expressive.
Sure.
And it's like a big thing about like having sex with me is that I'm very, very expressive. In life, I think you'll find from sitting across from me right now, I'm not that expressive. I kind of stay right here. And like, okay, recently, oh man, it's that like a series of crazy things happened this night, but one of the least crazy things was I was standing right across from a coat hanger and the whole thing fell over. Oops. And almost hit me. It like landed right over here. And I didn't respond at all. Like nothing in my body moved. I was like, oh. And somebody was like, wow, you're traumatized. That
Sure.
you like had no reaction to that whatsoever.
But if it was sex, you would be like, shove that coat hanger
Yeah,
up my head.
yeah.
That's fascinating.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So I think it's the opposite problem.
And okay, so the same way you said to me, how you said to me like, well, you can work on that. You can work on your repression. How would you work on that?
I guess
The coat
Meisner
hanger falls,
acting
you go,
technique.
What the fuck, dude? And you like work on like being angry or responsive.
Yeah, Meisner acting technique.
Sure.
Yeah.
I get that. Do you think that's repression, or do you ever go, oh, is it depression? I remember reading about Hugh Laurie, the actor. He said
House.
He said something in an interview about like he was in like a car, and somehow there was like a war zone situation. He was somewhere where suddenly a bomb went off, and he didn't feel anything. He didn't like feel like the threat of death is around there, and that's when he realized he was really depressed. And that made sense to me. That resonated with me. Where when I feel really depressed, I'm like, those things don't trigger me. I'm like, oh, I could die. I should be worked up.
Maybe. Okay. I have to tell a little more of the story,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
has literally nothing to do with the coat rack almost falling on me It's that a few days ago, it was Christmas Eve, and I was at my friend M. Weinstein's house. M. Weinstein, who's directing my show Less Lonely, his mom's apartment on the Upper West Side. And basically, the short version of this story is there was an older guy there who smoked a little bit of weed with us and then passed out and stopped breathing. And they were doing CPR on him, and we thought he was going to die in front of us. And then he didn't, and we called 911. It was like a whole thing. We had to call the mainstream 911, and then we had somebody who's formerly from the Hasidic community at this party who called the secret Orthodox EMTs, and they all showed up in the house, and then they took him away on a stretcher, and then it turned out later that he was really sick with something else completely unrelated to us smoking him up a little bit. And then he ended up being okay, at least as okay as a guy who was already really sick could be, but he didn't die that night. Anyway, so that had all happened earlier this evening, and I also didn't really react to that.
Oh my God.
So this is where I'm at. This happened to me 3 days ago, and I'm like, so, how's everyone's? You guys like iced coffee? I love iced coffee.
Oh my God.
Even in the winter?
Wait. Okay.
Yeah,
The
so-
guy who passed out, was he Orthodox?
He was Jewish, but I don't think he was Orthodox.
What's the secret number for the Orthodox EMT? They work faster than the regular EMT?
They did show up after the regular EMTs, but they did get called after the regular EMTs.
And they were regular. They weren't Hasidic.
They weren't Hasidic, but they are definitely some kind of secret, yes.
And Jews were never beating the allegations that we run the world.
I know. I'm a little afraid to say secret Jewish organization, but it kind of was. It kind of was that.
Wow.
Well, I want to get that
That's
number
so
from you after
scary.
the show.
I was just telling Gianmarco I had this experience on the 23rd
Oh God.
where that was there's this you in New York, you witness or are part of horrible things that happen, and then you just kind of go on.
Yes. No, totally.
Your life just kind of keeps moving.
Totally.
And so I went to get on a train, and there was someone fully passed out on the ground, barf everywhere, laying there, and but people still on the train.
Oh my God.
And so I was it was at a station where I got on, got off, and went to the next car. But then I was this person is there.
Yeah.
Passed out on the ground covered in barf. So the next stop opens door. There's two police. And you're oh, it's the police, but someone needs to know that this person is there. So the door opens, and they're literally right there in front of me. So I say, hey, there's someone passed out, unconscious on the next cart. Within seconds, screaming. The person is hitting the police.
Oh God.
They're not passed out. I thought they were. They were not moving, and they were covered in barf. Punching the police, screaming. Police then are dragging the person off the train. I'm fuck, what have I done? Then that person jumps onto the tracks and is running down the tracks.
Oh my God.
And I'm oh my God, this person's going to get hit because of me. Because I was I thought they were dying or dead. And then police able to grab them, drag them back up on the thing. They're getting arrested. They're screaming, what have I done? What have I done? And then I'm just leaving. And I'm what have I done?
Oh my God.
On Christmas, I was thinking.
On Christmas Eve.
Thinking I was going to help this person. And then now they're getting arrested for whatever. And you're and the cops were having they were just talking to each other. No one, it was but you think in your head, you're they seem like they were dead. But I don't know.
Well, now you've learned your lesson. Never help anyone.
Never help anyone.
Well, real quick, I want to thank our sponsors, the NYPD.
Shout out to our boys in blue.
You get those turnstile jumpers. You get every single one.
Yeah.
We need the money going to the subway so we can buy more screens to air ads and get rid of benches.
$155 million.
Oh my God.
Let's go on to our next segment.
This has got to stop.
This has got to stop. Jess, do you have a thing that's got to stop?
Okay. I don't know if this is going to be a cliche thing to talk about here, but so I've been running my show off Broadway, Less Lonely, and I've noticed this first thing is not the whole thing. I've noticed that people act insane in the theater, in the audience of a theater.
Yeah.
which I'm sure you totally notice as well.
Less so when I'm not performing, but yes, when I was doing shows. Yeah.
They act really just kind of crazy, like putting stuff on the stage.
Wow.
Yes, putting objects on the stage, like talking to each other right in the front row, being on the phone the whole time, like getting up and leaving the bathroom to go to the bathroom multiple times. In like my show's like an hour and 10 minutes long, and people are getting up to use the bathroom. And I think it's not just that, it's that because it's a theater, I'm not allowed to act crazy on stage.
Yeah.
If I was at a comedy club, I could be fucked up. I could be sneezing and high and fucked up in front of everyone, and it would be fine. But because it's a theater, I have to be like TV, basically.
Sure.
Yeah.
And they get to act crazy. And I don't think that's fair. I think I should get to act as crazy as they do in the
Yeah.
theater.
What would you do in a comedy club space? Someone put something on the stage. You'd be like, "What the fuck is this?"
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, I guess I would talk more about it. But I can't really, it's a theater, and I'm doing like a show.
Sure.
So I can't really, and I do like, it is a stand-up show, and I do say things like, get that stuff off my stage. But like, we can't stop and talk about it.
Yeah, yeah,
I have
yeah.
a show I'm doing.
Yeah. Yeah.
I get it. I mean, that's why. What kind of pre-show announcements do you ever say? Like, could you add to the pre-show announcement? Like, don't put something on the stage. You have to like train the audience in a 1-minute little clip. Like the pit. You remember the pits?
Yeah.
And they talked about, wasn't there like a vibrator joke
Yeah.
in it? Or like,
Yeah.
if you have anything, put the phone underneath you. It might feel good when it goes on vibrate. Like something like.
That's not what it was, but it was. Yeah, it was.
I've
There
heard
was a
something like
vibrator
that.
joke.
Like,
yes.
like sit on your phone. It'll feel
Yeah.
good when you get a call.
Ew, it
like-
felt good on your clit. It just it was very vulgar.
It's the same thing as the Grand Ole Opry, where it's like, just say it. Put it on your phone. You might fucking.
You might fucking get off.
That is very frustrating. I've always said that I really admired Nico White, because even when I'm on a comedy club stage, I get worried about the confrontation. People
Yeah.
put their feet on the stage all the fucking time, and I
No,
hate
people
it.
were putting their feet on the stage at my show. I'm like, we're off Broadway, girl. Like, these tickets cost $60, and you're going to come in here and put your feet up.
So weird.
And Nico will just go, he'll really smoothly, as he's doing the bass, like, get your feet off the stage, and then go back into a bit.
Yeah.
And what I do is I try to like, I get a little extra theatrical and like almost step on their foot in a way that I want them to go like, it's dangerous.
Yeah.
I'm on stage. It's dangerous leaving shit on here.
I have a problem where I need to be liked. And I actually think that that's why I don't do crowd work, because I don't have the kind of confrontational. I don't have
Yes.
the best crowd work comedians are making fun of the audience. And
I
I
agree.
can't do that because I'm like, I need you to like me. Like, I don't want to.
I totally get that. And I totally know, because the times that I've lost the funny and I'm just mean, I feel awful.
Mm-hmm.
That's why, like, what Matt Rife does in his crowd work is he'll be like real earnest. He'll be like, "Oh wow, that's really beautiful. So you're a whore," and he'll do like a real like nice thing, and then he'll do his mean, and that's his balance of it. And people seem to like it.
And he's a genius, so
He's a genius.
he is.
I like I'm just saying, like, Jeffrey Asmus, I love his crowd work because he's just fucking mean. But I think he comes, like, his persona lets him be mean, where in the way where you don't feel like he could ever be the bully. You know, he jokes about being the alpha male, and because he's not that, it's funny. But it is, I understand what you're saying.
I just can't, like, my persona is like, we're all friends, like, we're all in here together. And so, like, I just can't, I can't bring myself to even turn on them, like, a little bit.
Yeah.
I, like, can't do it. And I'm also, like, terrified of, like, hurting people's feelings.
Sure. I get that. That's why you got to, do you ever say to the ushers, like, hey, could you?
They did. Early on in the run, they told me, because somebody was putting their feet on the stage, they told the whole audience, like, don't put anything on the stage. And then that night, this really old man, who I think was, like, blind, and I don't totally know if he knew exactly what was going on, but he, like, had a Ziploc bag full of medication, and he was putting it on the stage. And
What the fuck?
That's crazy.
It was crazy, and I just was like, I actually was like, that's okay, man. You can keep that there. It looks like you might need that, so like, you just keep it right there. And then his wife, who was way more with it, snatched it away. Was like, I think she wanted to see the show.
That's why I don't bring my dad in public. It's that fear of like you're gonna do something like insane.
Yeah.
Well, no, dads can't be seen in public.
I agree. Let's go on to our next segment, our final segment.
You better count your blessings.
You better count
Wow.
your blessing.
Wow.
Russell, do you have a blessing?
Oh man. You know,
What the fuck?
I didn't know I was gonna go first. I wanted. I like you go first.
Let me just make sure I have this right entirely.
Oh yes, yes, yep.
Hold up. Okay. I'd like to thank Arin Sangarai.
Oh my God! Did you just listen? Is that a pronunciation clip?
I texted him this morning because I've only talked to him by his first name, and I said, "Could you tell me how to say your last name? I want to give a shout out on the podcast." And he said, "Thank you for asking."
And he sent that.
And now he sent that. Arin is the one who did the photo shoot with me, wearing the thong.
Arin's amazing.
Arin's an incredible photographer, and it's just like I've worked with, some photographers throughout the days, but I was at this point where I was like, who can I text and say, hey, are you okay if we did a photo shoot where you're gonna see my balls?
Yeah.
There's no way you're not gonna see my balls, and I'm gonna wear this thong, and I need it to be like fun, and we need to like play with it. And I knew Arin would be down, and Arin was coming up with extra poses, and he said, what if you spread your cheeks this way? And what if you put this inside you? And
Both
like
cheeks,
that is
both cheeks the same way.
I said, could you hold this one? I'll hold this one. You get the camera with this. I mean, really just down to
Really getting in there.
And it's moments like that where I just to go back to the earlier point of just like, you don't know where people stand on nudity or whatnot, but I knew based on my past photo shoots with him that like he'd be down. He'd understand what this is, and it would be a safe space. I just don't want to make anyone uncomfortable. And but I want to do that. I think that's funny. I think it's funny to do a photo shoot like that. So I was very thankful for Arin, and the photos were great. And unfortunately, that means I'm going to ask him to do the next one. I'm thinking for my Australia. Oh, if there's Australia dates, that I'm doing naked as a kangaroo. I'm thinking I want to do one cat on a hot tin roof. It's me as a cat, and I'm kind of curled up naked on a hot tin roof.
So
I want to do animals. That's going to be my thing with flyers this year. Me naked as animals.
Nudity with animals.
Nudity as animals.
Yeah.
That's going to be my thing. So, Arin, thank you very much. You're my blessing. Russell, do you have a blessing?
You know, I don't have a good one today. So
all right, hold up.
Let me tell you.
Okay.
I pressured wise, I could say a bunch of things, generic things, around the holidays, that kind of things. I don't feel like I am thankful that I'm on this podcast, and you can trust me in knowing that I don't have a good enough answer right now to give you one right now. And so I am grateful that I'm not going to give you an answer because I don't have a good one. And rather than just going through the motions and saying some bullshit.
Here's what you could do.
What?
Do what I do. Come with your own system. We all have our systems for taking notes.
Mm-hmm.
I use my notes app. Mm-hmm. I have a downside notes app.
I had a this guy stop that we didn't use. So
because we have to do the other thing. So
I know.
That I could do 1,000 blessings in a row if I had a gun.
But if it's not genuine and I'm not like feeling like
you're an actor. Go back to the thing when you felt genuine and pretend for the fucking listeners. You son of a bitch.
No, I won't be pressured to have a blessing when I don't feel like I have one right now. And I have so many. I do have so many. There's so many wonderful things happening.
You heard it here first. Russell is thankful for nothing.
I'm thankful for everything.
The whole holiday season, Russell couldn't come up with one thing to be thankful
No,
for.
I just didn't want to. I don't have a singular thing now.
You love that your parents. Here, I'll come up with one for you. I love that your parents had plates with Christmas trees on them. It's so nice to be able to be swept up in the holiday spirit and to have like those little traditions.
That is good. My mom actually wrote me a really sweet note.
Oh,
that was so sweet. And it really was.
Now tell me about it. Okay, what was the note like?
It was a David Bowie book. about and it would like she wrote a little thing about like how proud she was of the little boy of following his dream. It was very, very sweet. And actually, yeah.
You ready? You got emotional?
I should. It made me very emotional. So
This is my argument.
what?
Is that we talk and I go, you do have things, but you have to do what I just did for you.
Oh.
You have to. This is what my point. Russell told me that story about the subway off the podcast, and I said, oh, tell that on the podcast. And you were like, oh, yeah. An interesting thing happened in my life. I'll bring it up on the podcast.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Your mom got you a book,
Yeah.
and it said like a boy pursuing his dream.
Yeah.
That's
it was
very
very
sweet.
sweet. Yeah.
Oh, that's
I love
amazing.
my mom. Yeah.
That's a beautiful.
It is beautiful.
lesson.
Thank you for forcing me. Thank you for forcing that out of me. Hey, you got to do that every show.
Great. Just you have a blessing.
We're taking stock of the things in our life.
Yeah.
I feel blessed that at this point, weed is both legally and socially acceptable to the point where I can say to my agents, hey, you know how you always send me a bottle of champagne when I do something cool? I don't drink. And can you send me weed instead?
That's great.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
Have they done it yet?
They have not. They sent me a huge box of Levain cookies that I could not touch. I mean, they were just, it took me 2 days to eat one of those cookies. I was like, I can't. It was like a dozen box of cookies. I was like, you're trying to, this is a weapon.
Sweets are.
But I was glad to ask. I was glad that I could ask that I could express my needs openly
Yeah.
That is
and
good.
without
Yeah.
shame.
Tova and I have because she gets a lot of gifts of alcohol, and we drink sometimes, but not like this guy. Really, we will go through our liquor cabinet by those times we go to your house and we bring a bottle for
Yeah.
the thing.
Yeah.
But we just have way too much. So I think that we're more weed people.
Oh, I have
Yeah.
a gift to give to Tova with me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's great. This episode is coming out. This is our first episode of the new year. Thank you so much for being here. What do you want to plug?
I would love to plug my show Less Lonely, which is at Greenwich House Theater until January 6th. I don't know if anybody will be free that day, January 6th, but we are running
Yeah.
until then. So
day in
yeah, come
America.
through.
Check it out. I mean, now are you hoping to do the show elsewhere? You could.
I
tour it and
am.
Stuff.
I am. It's a little, now that it's like a theater show and it has like lights and a set, it's a little complicated, but we're going to do at least LA and maybe some other places. We'll see.
Nice.
Is Elliot Page a producer on it?
He is presenting it technically, which means that he thinks it's really cool and he does a little press with me sometimes.
Oh, that's so funny.
Yeah, he's the best.
I've never heard that.
And does
like,
he? You've seen Mike Birbiglia
Presents.
Conan O'Brien.
Mike presents Conan O'Brien?
Yeah, the
think
hierarchy
Conan's-
got
yeah,
totally
yeah.
changed. I think that's so. It's just it's just a funny thing that we do.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
I remember when Sebastian Maniscalco presents or produces comedy specials, but his name is so fucking long that if you go on Spotify, all it says Sebastian Maniscalco ...
Yeah.
Well, it's
Amy
okay.
Schumer.
Oh, Amy Schumer presents Keith Robinson. Yeah.
That's very cool.
My name is short, so hopefully it still makes it up in
Yes.
there.
Yeah. Go check it out. Where can they find you on social media? You got good socials.
You can find me on Instagram at Jes the Kid. That's JES the Kid. On Elon Musk's Twitter at Jes Tom. And tickets to my show at jestomshow.com.
Russell, what do you want to plug?
January 2nd. Just follow me on Instagram at Russell J. Daniels. If you go to see Gutenberg the musical on Broadway, let me know. And maybe I'll say hi afterwards.
Do you celebrate January 6th?
Formally, yeah.
Yeah.
Formally, religiously, romantically, yeah.
I bet you that will become a holiday.
Yeah,
A conservative
annually.
holiday.
We need more time to get it into everybody's calendars.
Yeah.
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 That'll be
To
like
build
the new
tradition.
July 4th for a certain group of people.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
Okay, me, guys. Hopefully I've posted my flamingo shots by now so you know, but I will be in Tampa, Florida, January 4th through the 6th. If you're in Florida, I got a lot. I'm doing a Temple show January 18th. Please come, but no, I will not be able to say some of the jokes that I normally like to say. Then I will be in Boca Raton January 19th and 20th, and then finally ending the Florida run January 21st in Naples, Florida.
Naples is
It's
beautiful.
notoriously a tough comedy space.
Oh, okay.
But I feel like it's the same old grand old Opry crowd. Otherwise, fuck, go to a sex store. We should get a sponsorship from a sex store.
Would love it.
I would love to awkwardly present just the slab. What do you call that slab where it's just the holes?
I love the slab.
Slab
as a term.
is very. Yeah, the slab.
It is giving slab.
Yeah.
I don't know what you call it when it's not small enough to be a pocket pussy.
Yeah.
It's too big.
Yeah,
to be a
it's
pocket.
more like a backpack
You'd have
pussy.
to. That's a carry-on. That's
Yeah.
a.
Yeah, like
My
a
girlfriend has a
yeah.
CPAP machine.
That would be
and
so
it's a-
funny if your suitcase or your briefcase.
And it was just
businessman
that.
was just inside it. You just
I wanna
carried
say-
around the slab.
I've had way more issues traveling with sex toys and carry-ons
What,
than
what
I've
hap-
ever had with anything else.
Do they think it's a weapon?
Yes. Well, I have some sex toys that could technically be a weapon.
Oh my god.
So
What do you mean?
I have, oh my god, and we're getting into this in like the last minute of this. I have this thing called the Pure Wand, which is like a stainless steel, like C-shaped. It looks like an eyebrow piercing, like a stainless steel C with 2 balls on the end. But it is like, it's like 5 pounds. It's like, it's pretty heavy.
Yeah.
Like you
Yeah.
could really hit somebody with it.
And have they taken your bag off to the side?
Yes,
and they go,
yes.
And
Because it just shows up as a big metal thing.
And what do you say?
I say it's a sex toy, and people go, ugh, and then they put it back.
Yeah.
And then I
They
get
make
to
a noise? They go, ugh.
Well, not always, but I think sometimes honesty is the best policy.
Yeah.
And you're like, look how stupid you look now,
Yeah.
touching my sex toys.
This is the downside.
1, 2, 3. Downside. Downside.
You're listening to The Downside
The downside.
with Gianmarco Soresi.
Tell him, Russell.
Subscribe to The Downside right now.
Where?
Down here. Or here. We don't know, but just do it.
Or also, what else could they do?
They can follow the Patreon. They can subscribe to the Patreon.
I
No! Sorry.
Patreon.com/downside.
Too much pressure.